Honus Wagner was one of the most famous baseball players of his era, and perhaps the greatest shortstop of all time. During the turn of the century, athletes did not make a lot of money, and they often had to work second jobs in the off-season. Wagner became friends with a businessman named Bud Hillerick, who owned a company that manufactured baseball bats. Wagner began to use Hillerick's bats, called Louisville Slugger, during games. The Louisville Slugger became a very popular brand, and in 1905, Wagner allowed Louisville Slugger to engrave his signature on their bats. With this moment, Wagner made history, becoming the first athlete to ever receive money for endorsements, by allowing Louisville Slugger to use his name on their product. This ended up being a great move for Louisville Slugger. Wagner's fame boosted sales, and their bats became very popular in the professional leagues. In 1918, they were able to sign Babe Ruth. Today, Louisville Slugger produces more bats for more than 60% of major leaguers. Another company, American Tobacco, attempted to use Wagner to endorse their product. American Tobacco produced various baseball trading card sets between 1909 and 1911 as part of their T206 series. These cards were placed within cigarette packs as a marketing ploy. The company did not get prior approval from Wagner for producing the cards, so he quickly stopped production once he found out about it. American Tobacco had already produced between 50 and 100 cards. As a result, the cards are extremely rare, as one was recently sold in 2016 for more than $3 million, making it the most expensive trading card ever.
In 1922, professional golfer Gene Sarazen became the first member of Wilson's staff, who was a company that sold and produced golf equipment. This became the longest-running endorsement deal at the time, with the contract lasting 75 years. Sarazen was a golfer who had inspired to design a club that would glide through the sand. This club is still around today, and it's what's now known as the Sand Wedge. This club was actually debuted by Sarazen in 1932 at the British Open, a tournament that he ended up winning. That year in 1932, Wilson sold 50,000 R90 clubs, and it quickly became the most popular sand wedge in golf. Sarazen is said to have been the pioneer of lengthy endorsement deals. With a 75-year contract at the time, we now have athletes like David Beckham and LeBron James, who both have lifetime endorsement deals.
The first sneaker endorsement was between Chuck Taylor and Converse Shoe Company back on June 14, 1923. Chuck Taylor was a professional basketball player and salesman for the Converse Shoe Company. Shortly after he started working for the company, they adopted his idea of a new shoe design. He designed it to be more comfortable and added a star-shaped logo on the ankle. Then, once his signature was added to the All-Star logo, they became known as Chuck Taylor All-Stars. After the shoe design was released, Chuck Taylor traveled the country with samples in his truck that he would give out at basketball clinics he conducted. People liked the design and comfort of the shoe, and it became one of the most popular shoes in the country and still is today. Chuck Taylor's signature is still on the sneaker today, and each generation reinvents and releases the sneaker. Also, it is estimated that 60% of Americans will own a pair of Chuck Taylors at some point in their lifetime.
The first major female endorsed athlete was Babe Dietrichson Zaharias. Babe was an All-American basketball player, two-time Olympic gold medalist in track and field, a co-founder of the LPGA, a record holder for winning 14 consecutive LPGA tournaments, and she is listed at number 2 on Sports Illustrated's 100 Greatest Female Athletes of All Time. In 1933, Babe was placed in a Dodge advertisement after talking highly of a newly released car. Because Babe was an amateur athlete, she was not allowed to endorse products. She was then suspended by the Amateur Athletic Union. After the suspension ended, she quickly moved up to be a pro-level athlete, which allowed her to sign endorsement deals. She signed with Chrysler to promote Dodge Coupes at auto shows. She was also signed to a contract to endorse Wheaties and P. Goldsmith's Sons sporting goods store. Who was the first $1 million endorsed athlete? You might think it would have been a football, basketball, baseball, or soccer player, but in fact it was professional bowler and 6-time bowler of the year, Don Carter. During the 1950s and 60s, Don Carter was the biggest name in professional bowling. In 1964, bowling manufacturer Ebonite signed Don Carter to a $1 million endorsement deal and released the Don Carter Gyro Balance bowling ball.
Stan Smith is said to have had the most iconic tennis shoe ever, the shoe being produced by Adidas. The shoe was actually first named after star French tennis player Robert Hallett. During this time frame, sneaker designs were passed on to new endorsers rather than discontinuing the shoe completely. With that being the case, Adidas chose to pass on the endorsement to number 1 ranked American tennis player Stan Taylor when Hallett decided to retire. This move was actually one of the first moves Adidas had made as a brand to launch them into the American marketplace, where they currently still have a presence today. In 1971, the shoe was officially renamed after Stan Smith, and those same shoes can still be bought in stores today.
The next big sneaker endorsement would come in 1985 when Michael Jordan signed with Nike. The Jordan 1 was released in red and black to match his uniform. David Stern, the NBA commissioner at the time, banned the shoes because they did not have enough white on them. Michael Jordan continued to wear the shoes and was fined by the NBA every time he did so. Nike paid all of his fines, and the Air Jordan 1 made Nike $130 million that season. In 1996, Michael Jordan created the Jordan brand, which is now a division of Nike. Since 2012, the Jordan brand controls 58% of the U.S. basketball shoe market. Nike is now at the top of the sneaker market because they chose Michael Jordan as their athlete endorser. This goes to show that an athlete can help a company go above and beyond their sales goals. Athlete endorsement has become more popular over time and will continue to be used more and more by companies in the future because of the results they get from it.